Yo, what's good guys? It's your boy Jay Apollo and welcome to my new channel. I'm gonna be doing a channel intro soon because I want to get into more detail into what I'm gonna be doing in the future. But right now I wanted to get into this solo leveling tier list as soon as possible because it's end of series soon and I wanted to get this out there. In this video we're gonna be going from left to right, strongest to weakest. So in this tier list it's gonna be the strongest at the top and at the very bottom right is gonna be the weakest. There are a list of characters that I'm gonna be leaving out of this video and it goes as follows. So number 1 is if they have 0 importance. Number 2, if I absolutely know 0 of, or if I can't relate them to any other characters within the story. And number 3 is if they're complete fodder trash and they mean absolutely nothing, and that goes for the humans and monsters. And number 4, I'm not gonna be talking about any hunters that got completely fodderized and obliterated because we can't talk about them, they got fucked up. So yeah. We can't be talking about hunters who get fodderized and have absolutely nothing to show for it as well. I'm going to show all of the people and monsters that fit the criteria within each of these things. So with all that being said, let's get straight into the video. Okay, let's start this list off right. Let's start with the top and the bottom people. So at the top, we're obviously gonna put the absolute being. Let me see where he's at. Where is he? All right, the absolute being is straight up going to the top. I mean, he's the absolute being. He created the monarchs and the rulers. He is the most powerful being in existence. He did get done in by 7 rulers, but there's no monarch or no ruler by themselves that's taken on 7 of these beings. It's too much to handle. And in the bottom, we already know. Let's find Sun Jin Woo. So Sun Jin Woo, the worst E rank of all time. He's straight garbage at that time. Power level of 10 or some shit like that. Yeah, this nigga's trash. That's all there is to it. Okay, next up, we're gonna talk about this bitch ass nigga right here, Huang Dong Soo. So he is a C rank hunter. He was leading his group, and Sun Jin Woo mentioned that he is pretty strong for a C rank. So yeah, I'm gonna put him in C rank for now, but he's probably gonna be in the top of this tier. Okay, let's talk about the cameraman. So the cameraman was there during the Jeju Island raid. He was documenting everything. Yeah, he's not really too special. He's just there to basically film raids and shit. So we're gonna put him in A tier because he is an A rank hunter. But yeah, let's move on. Okay, next up, let's do Kim Sengshi. I think that's how you say his name. Oh, by the way, guys, pronouncing these names is gonna blow mine, so just bear with me. Okay, next up, let's do Kim Sengshi. So Kim Sengshi, he is a D rank hunter. He was there during the double dungeon raid. He's not really too important or too special. I guess he was important for Sun Jin Woo's PTSD, and that's about it. But yeah, this nigga's kind of snake. But yeah, he's just a D rank hunter, so D tier for now. Okay, next let's do Garuk Taru. So Garuk Taru is an S rank magical beast. He was leading the regular orcs during the raid, which were B rank, and the other high orcs, Tusk Guard, and the other A rank high orcs could literally not touch him. He was unstoppable until Sun Jin Woo came. He kept on destroying them multiple times. So yeah, he is S rank, and yeah, he's pretty powerful. Oh, and guys, I don't know if I said this in the beginning of the video, but this list will be based purely on the manhwa. I'm gonna be using some light novel, maybe, to help my case out with some of these characters. But other than that, it's gonna be based only on the manhwa. So if something's a little iffy to y'all who read the light novel, just know that this is based on the manhwa. And if you want to debate me on anything, make sure to use the manhwa. Okay, anyways, let's actually get rid of all the monarchs and rulers in one go. So I'm just gonna put, first we're gonna put the I'm just gonna put these all in God tier. So the monarchs and rulers, nothing surpasses them. No being alone surpasses them. They are the top of the top besides the absolute being. Nobody can touch them except for a monarch or a ruler. They cannot be beat by anything else. You're gonna need literally a whole army just to take out one. So let's just get all these monarchs and rulers up here real quick. And I'm gonna explain what order I'm gonna put them in and why. So we already know that there is a greatest fragment of brilliant light, and he is the second strongest out of the rulers. And the rulers and the monarchs are pretty much perfectly balanced. That's why they've been having this war for so long. So 1 is going to be equal to 1, 2 is going to be equal to 3 is in 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. You know, it's basically balanced like that. So yeah, we're going to put the greatest fragment of brilliant light up in the top for now. And we're just going to put every other, because we don't really know how the other monarchs scale to each other. And for even the insect monarch, we couldn't really see too much from her, because I'm pretty sure she couldn't activate spiritual body manifestation. And the Demon King that Sun Jin-woo fought was a clone and nowhere near as powerful as the real version. So yeah, we're talking about the actual Demon King, not that clone shit that Sun Jin-woo was fighting. So let's start doing every other. And remember, the current greatest fragment is on the top because we know he's the second strongest from the rulers, and we don't know who's the second strongest in the monarchs. So he's in the top. Okay, next up, let's do Gina. So Gina is an A-rank mage type hunter. She was part of one of the squads for the Hunters Guild, Choi Jong-ning's guild. We're gonna put her ahead of the cameraman just because the cameraman doesn't really do anything besides film shit. So let's do Christopher Reed. So Christopher Reed, he's a national level hunter. He's clearly pretty strong. He's the top in the world. I think he was ranked number 3 on USA's ranking system, which is clearly just a little flawed because they said Sun Jin-woo would be like 3rd or 4th or some shit like that, and he was clearly the strongest hunter when they gave him that that list of the top hunters in the world. But it's whatever. That's the best thing we got to go off of. It took 3 monarchs to jump him. I'm not saying he would have beaten 1 monarch alone, because he would have got done in by just 1 monarch, but it took a monarch to eventually take his life. So yeah, he's exceptionally strong. He's the top of the top. No need to say anything else about that. Let's do Kang Taishi. So Kang Taishi, he is a B rank hunter. He works for the Hunter Association. He's a scumbag, but he is crazy strong. He's got the stealth skill. He's an assassin type hunter. He gave Sun Jin-woo a lot of problems when they were fighting. It was kind of crazy. So we're gonna put him in B tier, but he's gonna be obviously pretty high in the B tier. And let's get a shadow in the mix next. Let's talk about Iron. So I'm gonna put Iron ahead of Goroktaru. Iron is an S rank magical beast, or S rank shadow or whatever. He's an elite knight. He just got promoted recently during the Giants raid, but Sun Jin-woo just turned into a full monarch. So a lot of these shadows are going to be stronger than what they are on this list. But since we don't know their strength yet, because we haven't seen them in action yet in the manhwa, we can't really say too much about them. Okay, let's talk about the GOAT next. Let's talk about this nigga Igris. So yeah, Igris, this is Blood Red Commander Igris, not the shadow. He's pretty strong. He is equivalent to an A rank hunter. He was giving Sun Jin-woo mad problems. Sun Jin-woo couldn't even beat him without his weapons. No, Sun Jin-woo beat him barely by using like tricks and shit in order to beat him at the end. But Igris wasn't using his weapons or nothing like that. And even when they were in the White Tigers Guild incident, when Igris was fighting the Ice Bear boss, Sun Jin-woo mentioned that he might be either as strong as Sun Jin-woo or stronger than Sun Jin-woo. And Sun Jin-woo was close to an S rank at that time. He became an S rank after he beat Baruch in that dungeon raid. So actually, he wasn't that close, but he was a high ass A rank hunter. So yeah, Igris is crazy strong actually. He's gonna be really high in the A tier, a lot higher than I thought he'd be. Okay, let's do Thomas Andre next. So Thomas Andre, he is a national level hunter. I'm gonna put him ahead of Chris because he is portrayed in the story to be the strongest national level hunter. And Liu Zi Gang also thanks Sun Jin-woo for putting him in his place because he apparently couldn't probably. And based off USA's ranking system, he is number 1 on the list. So we're gonna go off that and put him at the top for now. And guys, by the way, the light novel changes this list up crazy. Like, it's not the same at all. Just throwing that out there. Okay, let's do the Architect next. So the Architect is definitely not going to be stronger than the national level hunters, but he's heavily slept on. So in that dungeon raid, he was equivalent to a Sun Jin-woo that was stronger than when he fought the Ant King. and Sun Jin Woo could be considered a national level hunter, like a low tier national level hunter at that time. So they were equivalent, but all of the magic in the room was coming from the architect. Let's do Yuri Orlov. So Yuri Orlov, he's incredibly powerful. He completely immobilized two of the Japanese elite hunters. They couldn't move at all, and he was threatening to kill them with pure ease, to be honest. He did have to use mana crystals during the raid just to block off a bunch of S-rank giants, but these S-rank giants were exceptional. Like, they were crazy powerful. They were noted to be exceptionally agile and just stupid strong in general. Yeah, so Yuri Orlov is double S rank. He's clearly on a different level compared to normal S ranks, but he's not on a national level hunter tier. And he even made a comparison between him and Thomas Andre with the amount of money they would make. And Thomas Andre completely surpassed him. Like, it was like something trillion. I forgot what it was. But yeah, okay, let's get her out the way. So let's do Han Song. So Han Song is an E rank hunter. I'm gonna put her ahead of Sun Jin Woo just because Sun Jin Woo was literally like basically an anomaly. Like, he was stupid weak. It almost made no sense. So even though we haven't really seen anything from Han Song, we're just gonna assume that she was just stronger than Sun Jin Woo because Tu wasn't stronger than Sun Jin Woo. Okay, let's see who we can do next. Let's do the Ice Bear. So the boss Ice Bear. The boss Ice Bear, he was a B rank magical beast. He had the unfortunate fate of going up against Igris and, you know, unlucky ass nigga. There was no competition. It was light work. But yeah, he's in B tier. Ooh, okay, we got another goat in here. Let's do Woo Jin Cho. So Woo Jin Cho, crazy strong A-rank hunter, and actually it's stated in the story that just with a little more magical power, he'd probably be an S rank. He's mentioned in the story to be crazy strong. He's gonna be the top of the A rank. He's extremely close to S rank, so that's definitely fitting for him for right now. Okay, next up, let's do Kaiso. So I only got the shadow version of Kaiso, but let me explain real quick. Actually, let me put him in the tier real quick. So he is, I'm gonna say he's an S rank. For all we know, he was an A rank when he got revived. Sun Jin Woo got a lot stronger, and he was wiping out ants like crazy during the Jeju Island raid at the end, if you guys will see the panels. But yeah, he's pretty strong. I don't have his original form because the Demon King only used him as a mount. He didn't really show any attack capabilities, but we're assuming that he could. I'm gonna assume he's at least S rank right now because of how quickly and swiftly he took out all of those A rank and B rank ants. So we're gonna put him at S. Let's do Sung Chi-yul. So Sung Chi-yul, he is a C rank mage type hunter. He isn't really compatible with his mage type capabilities because he is a swordsman and he mainly focuses on swordsmanship, but he isn't compatible with his own powers and he doesn't really use it like that. He does have pretty high IQ because he does lay traps, I guess, with his fire magic when he was fighting Kang Taishi, but I can't put him above Huangdong Soo because Huangdong Soo, Sun Jin Woo stated that he's pretty strong. So yeah. So Yo Jin Ho. So Yo Jin Ho is a D rank hunter. He is a tank, I believe. He hasn't really shown too much in the story, and I'm pretty sure we haven't even seen him fight once. We're just gonna put him behind Kim Sang-shik for now, because we haven't seen literally anything from Yo Jin Ho. So let's move on. Okay, let's get this scumbag out of the way. Let's do Cho Kyu Juan. I'm gonna mess up a lot of these names. I'm gonna butcher the shit out of them. But Cho Kyu Juan, he was a C rank mage type hunter. He hasn't really shown anything besides getting completely fodderized by Sun Jin Woo. So yeah, we're gonna put this scumbag right here, lowest in the C rank. Let's do Parkesian next. So Parkesian, she is a B rank mage type hunter. She's not crazy strong at all. We haven't really seen anything. Wait, have we? Nah, I don't think so. But she was shook when she was just fighting a normal ice bear. So I'm not gonna put her ahead of the boss ice bear. So we're gonna put her at last in the B tier. Okay, let's do Goto. So Goto Ryuji, he is the guild master of the Draw Sword Guild, the strongest hunter in Japan. He's crazy strong. When Sun Jin Woo was fighting him, he noted that Goto Ryuji was on a different level than the normal S ranks. So he's definitely gonna be in a double S rank tier. He was going to go for the national level hunter title, but he clearly wasn't on that level. He got completely fodderized by the Ant King. Yeah, so he's just in double S rank for now. I'm gonna put him behind Yuri Orlov just because Yuri Orlov, we've seen him do more. He did immobilize 2 of those S ranks before, and he did block off a decent amount of those extremely strong S rank giants, even though he had help from the mana crystals. That was still impressive. So go to Ryuji, we can't really say too much. He didn't really do anything in the story except get completely bitched on by the Ant King. So he's going behind Yuri Orlov. Okay, let's do the Giants next. So the Giants from the Giant Raid, they were crazy strong, crazy fast, stupid agile. The 2 Japanese S-rank hunters had extreme trouble with them. So we're gonna put them ahead of Iron right now. And Iron, for literally all of the shadows on this list, we haven't seen anything new from them as of right now in the story, so we can't really definitively put them higher than they are, even though they are pretty much higher than they are right now, especially with the Monarch's upgrade, Sun Jin-woo's upgrade. But Iron and Egress had a double team 1 giant to take him down, and we don't know how much stronger Iron got, so that giant's gonna be ahead of Iron right now. Okay, let's get Fly Guy Liu Zigang. So Liu Zigang, he's a national level hunter. He was second on the list in terms of the USA's power ranking system. So we're gonna put him number 2 in the triple S tier, right behind Thomas Andre, in between him and Reed. So yeah, I mean, he's a national level hunter. Don't gotta say too much about him. Okay, let's do Min Byung-gu next. So usually healers, so say if you're an S rank healer, you're not gonna usually have S rank fighting capabilities. And remember, we're talking about 1-on-1. So if you're a B rank healer, you're probably gonna have C rank fighting capabilities, and so you're gonna have a tier lower than what you are as a healer, whatever tier you are as a healer. So you guys understand that. So I'm gonna put Min Byung-gu at A, and the cameraman even pointed out that him and Min Byung-gu have similar fighting capabilities, but Min Byung-gu, you know, he said he probably is just stronger than him. But I'm gonna put him at the top of A because he has a shit ton of magical energy as an A-rank hunter, so he has a lot of mana. Plus, I'm assuming he can apply all of his buffs to himself because healer can heal themselves. So we can also assume that he can apply all of the magical buffs that he applied to the other S-rank hunters to himself, like with every stat. Like he upgraded like a bunch of different stats to the S-rank hunters. So I can't see another A-rank fighting Min Byung-gu completely buffed out, and maybe the buffs put him to S rank. They might actually put him to extremely low S rank. So you're gonna have to deal with a hunter like that who can constantly heal themselves over and over again. It's gonna be like fighting like the most durable cutting board of all time. It's terrible. No A rank, I believe, is gonna beat Min Byung-gu. So yeah. So speaking of S rank healers, let's talk about Akari Shimizu. So Akari Shimizu, she's an S rank hunter, but she's a healer. She was part of the Jeju Island raid under the Draw Sword Guild. I would say she'd probably be on a similar level as Min Byung-gu, but we haven't really seen anything from her. So I'm gonna honestly put her behind Woo Jin Chil, but I don't see anybody else beating her if she can also apply buffs just like Min. We don't know that, obviously, but also she's gonna be an A rank. She's also gonna have A rank fighting capabilities. Plus, she's gonna be able to heal constantly, so she might actually end up beating Woo Jin Chil if Woo Jin Chil doesn't end the fight quickly and effectively. But Akari can go right here for now. Okay, let's talk about this Rage Cannon Kumamoto. So Kumamoto under the Draw Sword Guild, he was the strongest in the room besides Sun Jin-woo and Goto Ryuji when they were doing the practice bout between the Japanese hunters and the Korean hunters. He was extremely dominant towards Cha Hae-in when he activated his rage boost, basically. At first, he was struggling with the S-rank hunters, but he gets stronger as he starts raging. So yeah, he's pretty strong. He's gonna be at the top of the S rank right now. He's definitely not gonna be in double S with Goto because Goto's clearly the strongest in the guild. But Kumamoto's really strong. He's stronger than Cha Hae-in. Okay, let's talk about Choi Jong-in, aka Aizen looking ass nigga. But yeah, Choi Jong-in, he's a very strong fire type mage. I'm gonna say he's behind the S rank giants and ahead of what we know of Iron to be right now. He's really strong. When Sun Jin-woo was fighting Kar Gargon, Sun Jin-woo didn't necessarily completely fodderize Kar Gargon. Like he struggled just a tiny bit, I guess. I don't even know. But Choi Jong-in asked his hunter who's gonna win between me or him, and the hunter didn't necessarily say, oh, you're gonna get completely dominated like in a 1v1, but because he has his shadows, you wouldn't be able to. He basically has a better defense than you, so you'd be overwhelmed by numbers while he wouldn't eventually. He was honestly probably one of the most capable hunters within the Jeju Island raid. He was expending the most magical energy. He was coming in really clutch. So he's gonna go right behind the Giants, just because those Giants were giving 2 S ranks trouble in the beginning. And yeah, and we can assume that these 2 S ranks have faced off Giants before, but they noted that, yeah, these Giants are just a little bit different. So I'm gonna put Choi behind there. And also narratively, the Japanese S rank hunters were quote unquote stronger than the Korean hunters as a whole, except for Cha Ha-in. But on to the next. Okay, let's get Asil in the mix. So Asil, she was a demon noble in the demon castle. She is an S plus rank magical beast. Let's put her, I'm honestly gonna put her ahead of Goroktaru or Goroktaru. Actually, okay, because you know, we didn't definitively know that Goroktaru was an S rank. I don't believe in the manhwa, but he is an S rank. And Asil, she was in the upper floors. She was in she worked under the 3rd boss, I believe. Yeah, she worked under the 3rd boss in the demon castle, because it was Vulcan, Metis, and then her father was the next one. So she probably is gonna be up there in terms of demon nobles and being S rank and all that. So I'm gonna put her ahead of Goroktaru, but not behind Iron, because Iron, he's probably crazy right now. So let's not put her ahead of him. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about Tusk. So I'm gonna put Tusk actually in the double S rank, and the reason is, after just being shortly revived with the Orb of Avarice, of course, he was able to negate the Demon King's attack. They were basically canceling each other out with his magical beam that Sun Jin Woo did not want to take head on, because it would probably either kill him or just do massive damage. So the fact that an attack that Tusk has canceled is an attack that might have killed Sun Jin Woo at that time in the Demon Castle, and Sun Jin Woo could have fought the Ant King as well. I'm gonna put Tusk ahead of everybody else in the S tier, especially right now after he's gotten way stronger since then. He did have the Orb of Avarice, of course, but with the Orb of Avarice, he's, I don't know, he might even be Goto Ryuji, but I'm gonna put him behind Goto for now. So yeah, we're just gonna put him behind Goto for now. Actually, what am I talking about? I'm gonna put him ahead of Goto, because I'm thinking about it. Goto hasn't really shown shit, like, to be honest. He hasn't. All he's been doing is talking that talk. So, okay, next one, let's do the Ant King. So the Ant King is pretty easy. He's definitely going right behind the Architect. He's on a relative scale compared to the Architect. Sun Jin Woo and the Architect were pretty much equal. And Sun Jin Woo, he pretty much low to mid diff, or closer to low diff, the Ant King. But the Ant King was able to take out Goto. Like, he would have literally wiped out every single hunter on that island if it wasn't for Sun Jin Woo's interference. So yeah, he's on a completely different level. I am not putting him on double S tier, obviously. He's definitely going on triple S. He's crazy strong. Nation ranked are definitely beating the Ant King, but yeah, he's something ridiculous. Ooh, let's do the baby girl Cha Ha-in. So Cha Ha-in, she's obviously going straight up between Kumamoto and that giant. So she's pretty close to Kumamoto, even though he started dominating her at the end of the fight until Sun Jin Woo came and interfered. But she's stronger than Choi Jong-in, and she is ahead of the Giants in the raid. And the reason I'm saying she's ahead of the Giants in the raid is because the 2 Japanese hunters who were fighting the Giants specifically noted that the Giants were fast, and when Cha Ha-in was fighting the girl, she completely dominated her with speed. So that helps Cha Ha-in's case in terms of fighting the Giants. And also, Cha Ha-in was able to beat an Igris who was an S plus rank with the Demon King's longsword, that lightning sword. She low-key just low-diffed Igris even with all that. So yeah, she's going straight in second for S rank right now. Okay, let's do Hanakawa next. So Hanakawa, she was a translator lady for Goto Ryuji. She is an A rank hunter. Let's put her in between. No, let's put her last, because she did fight Park, who was a guild leader for one of the top 5 guilds in the country, and she got completely decimated. And he also stated that she probably hides behind her tanks in the raid as well, which she didn't object to. So yeah, Hanakawa, she's an A rank, but she doesn't really do much. She basically works as a translator lady most of the time. So I'm gonna put her actually behind the cameraman. Since the cameraman is really out in the field more, let's put her last. And speaking of Park is a guild master for the top 5 guilds in Korea, for one of them. Let's put him, I'm gonna honestly put him behind Shimizu, because Shimizu was fighting in that Jeju Island raid. She brought the hammer and everything. And she is an S rank with the healing capabilities and all that, and she might have buffs. So I'm gonna put her ahead of Park for now, but Park is crazy strong. Like, he is a guild master for one of the top 5 guilds, so I'm gonna put him ahead of Igris as well. Okay, let's talk about an exception to the rule that I stated in the beginning of this video. So let's talk about Reiji Shuzhimoto. So he is the vice guild master of the Draw Sword Guild, and the comparison between the guild master and the vice guild master is usually 1 and 2 compared to the rest of the guild. So the fact that he's probably number 2 in the Draw Sword Guild bodes well. I'm gonna put him in the top of S rank. So if he's second in command in the guild, he's probably the second strongest. But there is the fact that Kumamoto might not have the best mental space to be a vice guild master, because he's an emotional tornado, so he's probably not suitable for that position. So he might very well in fact be the second most powerful. But just going by what we've seen in the story so far, I'm gonna say he's the second strongest. So yeah, we're just gonna put him at the top of S right now. Okay, let's get the other 2 national level hunters on this list. So Siddharth Bachchan, he's one of the national level hunters. I think he's the Indian national level hunter. Obviously he's a national level hunter, he's exceptionally strong, and we can assume he's in his prime, so he probably has access to the spiritual body manifestation. And then the next one we'll get out the way is Jonas. So I believe he's the national level hunter for Brazil. He was 6th in the ranking for the USA's power ranking system, and Siddharth was 4th. So we're gonna put him right there. They left 5th out in the story, which I'm gonna assume was Gongan Hee when he was in his prime. But we'll get to Gongan Hee later, because he's like a special case within this tier list. Let's do Kim Chul next. So Kim Chul, he was an A rank hunter. He was working for the Tigers Guild. I'm gonna honestly put him under Igris, but I'm putting him behind Igris because Igris' shadow was weaker than the actual Igris at that time. And Sun Jin Woo noted during the Red Gate incident that Igris' power was probably equivalent to his, or maybe even higher than him. At the very least, he was at the very tippity top of what A rank could be, and the fact that Igris might have been equivalent to that, or maybe even stronger, definitely puts him at that top tier in terms of A rank hunters. So the hierarchs are A rank magical beasts. I'm gonna put them behind Kim Chul, because Kim Chul was actually, I'm gonna put them behind Gina too. Yeah, I'm gonna put them behind Gina. So the hierarchs are pretty strong in terms of A rank. The leader in the attack force in the raid said that every A rank in his raid party should be able to take out at least 1 high orc. But he was also surprised at the sheer power of when one of the hierarchs threw a spear at his shield and it cracked it up. So unless you're a decent A rank hunter, you're probably gonna get your cheeks clapped by one of these hierarchs, but that's a good spot for them to be in right now. Let's get some other A ranks in the mix. Let's talk about Yoon Tay. So Yoon Tay, he is the vice guild master of the Knights Guild, one of the top 5 guilds in Korea. Let's put him, let's see, we're definitely gonna put him ahead of the hierarchs, because as I just said, usually the vice guild masters are second in terms of power level compared to their guild master, and Park is an exceptionally strong A rank hunter. So I'm gonna put him ahead of the hierarchs, but since we haven't really seen anything at all from him, except for in that raid when Sun Jin Woo joined the Knights Guild and fought the ogre and all that shit. But other than that, we haven't seen too much. But honestly, because he is the vice guild master of one of the top 5 guilds, I'm gonna put him ahead of Gina, but not ahead of Kim Chul. Okay, let's do Sankey Hoon next. So Sankey Hoon, he was a leader in the raid in the High Orc dungeon. Let's put him behind Kim Chul and in between Yoon Tay. And I'm putting ahead of Yoon Tay because we haven't really seen what Yoon Tay can do, and we've seen what Ki Hoon can do, and he's seen the most competent A rank in that dungeon. So let's do the hierarch generals. So the hierarch generals are very strong. Let's put them ahead of Sankey Hoon, just because when Sankey Hoon was about to fight him, he wasn't sure if their A ranks would be able to get past the hierarch generals, which there were only 4 of, compared to, I think there was more than 4 A ranks in his party. But he did state that the hierarch generals aren't any pushovers, so I'm gonna put him ahead of Sankey Hoon, but not behind Kim Chul. Kim Chul just has mad clout, so that's why he's keeping it standing right now. So let's do the Shadow Ice Bear. Let's do Tank. So Tank is, I think he got upgraded to an A-rank Shadow in the Demon Castle, and he is a lot stronger than he was in the Demon Castle. I'm gonna put him ahead of Park, but not ahead of Shimizu. And listen, Tank may very well be S+ right now, because he was helping take on the Giants, but there was a lot of help in those panels, so we don't really know for sure how high he is in terms of ranking right now, and it hasn't really stated that he's gotten an upgrade in the manhwa so far, but he 100% did due to the Shadow Monarch being fully revived in Sunjin Woo. So honestly, I'm gonna post a revised list when the manhwa's done and shift a lot of things in his list, because we'll get more definitive answers, especially in the final war. But as of right now, we're just gonna say he's an extremely high A-rank beast. So I'm just gonna put him ahead of Park for right now. Minoru Hoshino. So Menorah was he was an elite hunter for the Japanese draw sword guild. Let's put him, he's obviously S rank, and he did completely bitch on I forgot what that other S rank's name was again, but we're gonna get to him soon too. But he completely bitched on one of the guild leaders of the top 5 guilds in Korea. So I'm gonna put him ahead of Choi, because the Japanese hunters were stated to be on another level compared to the Korean hunters, and Goto wasn't impressed by any of the S rank hunters, except for obviously Cha and Sunjin Woo. But yeah, I'm gonna put him ahead of Choi. He had trouble with the S rank giant, so there's no way I'm thinking it's gonna beat him alone, especially when he had help from Kanai Tawara. So that's a good place for him. So we got Kenzo Tanaka. So Kenzo, he also completely dominated and flexed on Madan Wu. He did kill a lot of the ants in the raid. He was probably going the most crazy in terms of the Japanese S-rank hunters. So I'm gonna put him ahead of Minoru. So yeah, that's pretty good. And remember, these guys are ahead of Choi because Choi is a mage type hunter, and it's stated in the story that mage type hunters are most effective when they're fighting multiple people at once or multiple beings at once, and they would have a harder time fighting one-on-one compared to any other class of hunters besides obviously the healers. So let's talk about Lim Tag-yu. So Lim Tag-yu, he is a guild master for the Fiend Guild, one of the top 5 guilds in the country. He is very strong. He is obviously an S rank. I'm gonna put him ahead of Iron, but he's definitely gonna be an extremely low tier S rank. Actually, no, I'm gonna put him behind Iron low key. Because when they were doing the sparring matches, he was basically begging for mercy and hoping they would go easy on him. And he's only really effective at long range, or not only effective, he's most effective at long range. And that's a problem when you're trying to do 1v1s, especially if you're not noted to have exceptional speed to be able to go long range to use your most effective attacks. So one-on-one, close range, I definitely think Iron is beating him. Maybe a Seal might low-key beat him as well, especially one-on-one. But we're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because he is a guild master of the Fiend Guild. So yeah, okay, let's do Kanai Tawara. So Kanai, I think that's how you say her name. So Kanai Tawara is an S rank hunter for the Draw Sword Guild. She's really strong. She's one of the top hunters. She is an elite hunter. I'm gonna put her behind Choi, but ahead of Iron, just because obviously we don't know what Iron is right now in terms of ranking. And at the time during the Giants raid, he just got his upgrade to S rank. And since we don't know anything right now, I'm gonna put her ahead of him. And let's actually put K right behind her. So K was looking at Choi Jianning's fire spells, and he thought to himself, like, you know, I don't even know who would win between me or him. So if he's on a relative scale to Choi, he might be right behind Choi, to be honest, you know, fire and ice dynamic. Or he might be behind Kanai. But I'm gonna put him, let's see, I'm gonna put him behind Choi just because I don't know, they just seem relative to each other. We could talk about that in the comments as well, but these two can be switched definitely. But let's put him behind Choi. Okay guys, let's talk about the Naga King. So the Naga King is actually a lot stronger than people may give him credit to be. So the Naga King is definitely going to be stronger than the Giants, and I'm going to explain why. So the Naga King was revived by Sunjin Woo, well, the shadow version of himself, and he said he was basically him and his alive version, the Shadow and alive version, were basically at very similar levels. Like Sun Jin Woo's revive skills were at the point to where he could revive you at basically the same amount of strength as you were as alive at that point. So the fact that he was able to dominate the giants like that in his shadow form, and he was equivalent in strength at that time to his alive self basically, that definitely puts him high in this tier list. Like, he's a lot higher. He just happened to get completely fodderized by Jin Woo at that time, so he didn't get too much shine in the raid. And Jin Woo noted that when the Naga King got revived, that his energy level was on a similar level to Tusk as of right now. He was equivalent to, so that means he was equivalent to a Tusk that was way stronger than Gongan at that time. Let's talk about Baruch. So I'm gonna have to use light novel to explain why exactly I'm putting him where I'm putting him. So let's see. I'm gonna put him right behind Thomas Andre. Yeah, I'm gonna put him right behind Thomas Andre. And speaking of Grand Commanders, let's get Igris up in the mix too. Igris is the third strongest in Sun Jin Woo's army as of right now. He's definitely weaker than Baruch. We're gonna put him right behind Baruch and ahead of Liu Zi Gang. Obviously, all the nation level hunters might be on a similar level compared to each other. Like, it might be extremely close. So all the national level hunters could be ahead of Igris as well. But just because he's on the same tier as Baruch, who would have a high diff fight with Thomas Andre, we're just gonna put him ahead of Liu because we haven't really seen anything from Liu right now. So Baek Yoon Ho, he is an S rank for the White Tigers Guild. He is the guild master of the White Tigers Guild. Let's see where we could put him. We're gonna definitely put him ahead of Lim Tai-gyu. But I'm gonna put him behind Iron because Iron is definitely gonna be very strong right now as an S rank hunter, and Baek is pretty low on the S rank tier. I know people think he's cool because of his White Tiger form, but he's honestly not impressive. He thought he was gonna have a high diff fight against Sun Jin Woo in the Red Gate incident, and that's not good looks because Sun Jin Woo was just barely in S rank, and you may say, oh, he was looking at him and his shadows as well. But no, Baek Yoon Ho, he also notices a spike in energy when Sun Jin Woo releases his shadow from the void, and Baek has not shown that he can sense shadows in the void, because when Sun Jin Woo was showing his shadows when he was becoming an S rank during the test for the Hunters Association, he was probably just looking at Sun Jin Woo alone and not all of his shadows combined with Sun Jin Woo in a fight with him as well. So yeah, that's not good looks, and Sun Jin Woo was barely an S rank at that time. Like, he was just at the edge of S rank. And honestly, I'm gonna put Vulcan ahead of him because Vulcan was extremely strong. He was fighting Sun Jin Woo, who had to use Iron's help, like Iron Shield, just to be able to take some of his attacks. Vulcan has a Berserker state, which increases every single stat of his by 50%, and he starts to feel less to no pain at all. I don't know, I forgot if it was no pain or less pain. So that's a problem. And Sun Jin Woo had to use the environment and trickery to take him down. So yeah, Vulcan's a problem. I'm not sure if Baek Yoon Ho is able to deal with Vulcan, especially if Baek was gonna have trouble with that version of Sun Jin Woo before he even fought Vulcan. And that Berserker state of Vulcan is crazy. Like, that's gonna be a problem for Baek Yoon Ho. Okay, next let's do Leonard Nireman. So Leonard Nireman, he's clearly on a different level than the S rank hunters. He has a very high perception level, able to notice Sun Jin Woo's shadows. So I'm gonna put him in a double S rank tier just because he's the strongest in Germany, and that's very credible. And I don't know if this is spoilers or not. Another spoiler warning. He is 12th in the world according to USA's ranking system. But since we haven't really seen anything besides him pushing back the Beast Monarch with one attack and a surprise attack at that, I'm definitely gonna put him behind Goto. But we know that he's on another level, so I'm gonna put him at double S. He is not a nation rank hunter, by the way. Okay, let's get Ma Dong-wook's goofy ass out of the way. So Ma, he's an S rank hunter. He is a tank. I'm gonna put him ahead of Lim Tai-gyu because Lim Tai-gyu, he was the most shook after seeing the S rank hunters, and Lim Tai-gyu is only effective long range. Sun Jin Woo saw Baek Yoon Ho and Ma fighting, and Sun Jin Woo noted that if Baek transformed into the White Tiger, he would easily dominate him during the training session. So just because of that fact, I'm gonna put him behind Baek Yoon Ho. And yeah, that's good for right now. So let's get into Baruch. So Baruch is an S rank monster. He's an S rank magical beast. It took magicians, Iron, Sun Jin Woo, who was extremely close to S rank at that time, and Egress, who is an extremely high A-rank shadow, to be able to take him down. Like, it was a high diff fight. Sun Jin Woo would not have beaten him one-on-one without a lot of his shadow's help. And so I'm gonna put him ahead of Ma Dong-wook just because he has the stealth skill, so that definitely amps up his abilities. The stealth skill is slept on in the story because Sun Jin Woo still uses the stealth skill as a monarch to fight other monarchs. It's definitely heavily slept on in the series. Okay, let's talk about Camish. Camish, actually, he's gonna go in Triple S, obviously. It took 5 nation ranks to beat him. He was decimating every other S rank or every other hunter that came before that, and only the nation ranks can take him down, ganged up on him and everything. So spoiler alert, or whatever you want to call it, Camish is actually a Grand Marshal or a Grand Commander or whatever you want to call it, and he's on the same tier as Bellion. So actually, let's get Bellion on this list. So I'm gonna put Bellion behind Camish because we haven't seen exactly what Bellion can do, but Bellion is an extremely strong shadow soldier. He's on the same tier as Camish, and we're gonna see more from him in the war to come, so he can definitely move up this list as well. Okay, let's do Huang Dong Soo next. So Huang Dong Soo, he's an S rank hunter. The USA scouted him and brought them over to the US. They basically paid him a certain amount, and he's now under the what's that guild for Thomas Andre? Alright, I forget the guild's name, but he's under Thomas Andre. And USA only scouts the best of the best in each country because they're scared they're gonna mess up foreign relations with the other countries if they don't play their cards right. So they'll only take certain risks when need be or when they feel it's necessary. So Huang Dong Soo is he was definitely the strongest hunter in Korea, besides Gongan Hee, but that's a special case. We'll get to him soon, obviously. But yeah, Huang Dong Soo, he's actually extremely powerful. We're gonna put him ahead of Yuri Orlov. And the reason is, when he was revived as Greed was on the same tier as Baruch, and Baruch was on a different level compared to any S ranks besides nation level hunters that we've seen. So the fact that his shadow was on the same level as Baruch at the time of being revived and can also fodderize hunters like Cha Ha-in makes Huang an extremely strong hunter. But we don't know if Sun Jin Woo had the capabilities at that time to revive shadow soldiers stronger than their previous selves. But if they're on equivalent scaling, then yeah, Huang's definitely different. And plus, Huang did receive Miss Selner's upgrade, which is a crazy buff. So yeah, he's definitely up there. And let's talk about Greed while we're at it. So Greed is the shadow version of Huang Dong Soo. We're gonna assume he's either on his level or stronger right now. He's on the same tier as Baruch, but I'm not gonna say that he was stronger than Baruch at the time when Baruch was first revived. So I'm gonna put him at the top of double S rank right now. But he could easily be in triple S. We gotta see some more proof, especially in this war coming up. But yeah, he's in the top of double S. Let's also talk about the Ant Queen. So the Ant Queen is actually a lot stronger than people think. She's going straight into the top of double S. So the Ant Queen is actually very strong. It took multiple hunters who were buffed due to Min Byung-gu's magic to be able to take her down. And without Min Byung-gu's healing capabilities, they would have probably not succeeded. Or maybe Cha Ha-in might have come in clutch at the very end still. But the Ant Queen is very strong even right now. Plus, she lost most of her magic power giving birth to the Ant King. She gave most of her magical power to him. So she could have been at least double the strength of what she was at that time. So yeah, if we're talking about nerf Ant Queen, she's still at double S. But if we're talking at full power, she can easily be triple S. Like at the very bottom of triple S. Okay, let's go into an easy one. Let's do Metis. So Metis is definitely ahead of Vulcan. He was the 75th floor's boss and Vulcan was the 50th, I believe. I'm going off the top of my head. But he was definitely the boss after Vulcan. And it gets harder progressively as you go to the top of the Demon Castle. So he's just stronger than Vulcan. We don't really know how strong he is, but he's gonna go behind Iron as of right now. He's definitely not gonna be stronger than Iron. But Sun Jin Woo fodderized him. We can't really say he's that strong. Yep, moving on. So the Naga King, his shadow was definitely pretty much equivalent to him at that time, and he could easily be way stronger than the Naga King right now after the upgrade of Sun Jin Woo. And remember, all of these shadows on this list, except for the people in the triple S tier, could be a lot higher than what they are right now, because we haven't really seen their fighting capabilities in the story after the upgrade. So yeah, they're gonna definitely move up after we see some more in the final war. But for right now, we just know he may be either weaker. Actually, I'm gonna put him ahead of the Naga King because he's gonna definitely be stronger than his previous self, even by just a little. And the fact that he was extremely close, if not pretty much the same level as he was before the Giants raid. Okay, so Gongan He's an interesting one. So if we're talking about normal Gongan he could have been 5th on USA's power ranking system that they left out on the list on purpose, because narratively they left him out, but they also showed right after the list that the Ice Monarch was going after Gongan He. So he could have easily been 5th on the list. And if that's as an old man, that's crazy. Or that may have been when he was just a little bit younger. But when the ruler made him use all of his power that the human vessel could possibly use, well, Gongan He's vessel, he was able to keep up with the Monarch to a certain degree, which is extremely telling. So you can either put him right below Baruch, I mean the Ant King, but if you were to go by, I don't know, because I feel like he can only activate that extreme power up when the ruler's activated, or when the ruler takes over. And the ruler's gonna really only take over when he's gonna fight another monarch. So you can't really put him like number 5 where he might have been on that list, but we could just put him safely behind Baruch, because when he can use his full power, he definitely becomes something different, like an entirely different class of power. So we're gonna put him at the bottom of Triple S right now. Gongan, I'm gonna say he's above the Giants in the S rank gate, but not behind the Naga King, because the Naga King was, his shadow was on a level similar to the current Tusk. Well, not the current Tusk, the Tusk at that time, which is definitely going to be stronger than Gongan, and he low-key might be behind the S-rank Giants at that time, but he has all of those spells and all of that shit. Like, he has a bunch of other hacks. So we got Ashbourne right here. He is clearly going to be in the top of the gods here. This is the Shadow Monarch. 1v1, I don't see anybody else beating him besides the Absolute Being. So 1v1 without the Shadow Army, he's beating every single Monarch and ruler besides the Dragon Monarch like that. We obviously got to see the fight between Sun Jin-woo and the Dragon Monarch. But yeah, oh, and the God Statue. So the God Statue is insanely strong. Sun Jin-woo could not take a single eye blast from him during the Double Dungeon incident. Like, that was going to completely eviscerate him. So I'm going to say he's stronger than Baruch, because if Sun Jin-woo can't take an attack, there's no way Baruch's taking that same attack. And Baruch's not going to be able to poison stone. So he's going to be behind the Architect, because that is the Architect's creation, and he is definitely weaker than the Architect at the same time. So yeah, that's a good placement for the God Statue. He's crazy. Oh, and then we got Jin-woo. We're going to put him ahead of the Shadow Monarch, and the only reason we're going to put him ahead of him is because Sun Jin-woo has a more tactical mind. He does a lot more, you know, shiesty things, I guess, compared to the Shadow Monarch. He will use poison to his advantage, which the Shadow Monarch will not do. But yeah, we don't have to really say too much on Sun Jin-woo. He's pretty much the exact same strength as the Shadow Monarch. He's just a little bit different in terms of his fighting style, I guess. But we're gonna see more during the raid. But I'm gonna put him ahead. Well, the raid, not the raid, the final war. But I'm gonna put him ahead of the Shadow Monarch right now. I also saw some YouTubers and some people talking about Sun Jin-woo has more fighting experience than the Shadow Monarch. Like, are y'all niggas dumb? Like, bro, Shadow Monarch has lived for thousands, if not millions of years, and he's been fighting the whole time, basically. And the fact that you're gonna say Sun Jin-woo has more experience within basically a year or 2 years less of time, I don't even know how long he's been fighting ever since he's gotten his power, or ever since he's gotten into the system. But yeah, the Shadow Monarch definitely has more experience than Sun Jin-woo. Come on, y'all are bugging. Okay, let's talk about Sung-il Hwan. I think that's how you say it, Sung-il Hwan. So this is Sun Jin-woo's father. He's technically a national level hunter, because he is a ruler's vessel, but he's definitely going to be the strongest in terms of those people, because of the fact that he's received special assignments from the greatest fragment of brilliant light and from the rulers themselves. Yeah, he gave the monarchs a bit of work, even though they were pretty much exhausted and fatigued. The Ice Monarch and the Beast Monarch, they were in their transformed states. The Beast Monarch was in his full transformed state, but we can assume that was the Ice Monarch's fully transformed state. But yeah, he was basically able to stall them for a decent amount of time. And these are strong monarchs in transformed states. Come on, bro, stop playing with me. He's crazy strong. He's gonna go in the top right now, but I'm not saying he's gonna be stronger than Belion. Last but not least, the final boss of the series, the Dragon Monarch. We haven't seen we haven't seen anything from him really at all. Even though he wiped out the entirety of Canada's forces and tens of millions of people at the same time, yeah, he's definitely, bro, the other monarchs thought they couldn't beat the Shadow Monarch without the Dragon Monarch. So yeah, we can honestly say he's gonna be at the top right now because they assume that with the Dragon Monarch, victory is all but assured. So yeah, I mean, he's gonna go ahead of Sun Jin-woo right now. When we see this final fight, things are gonna switch up. This whole list is gonna be switched up by the time the war is over. But yeah, that's about it. I want to thank y'all for joining me in my first video. I had fun with it, and I think I made a pretty damn good list. If you guys have any problems with the list, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you feel there should have been certain people or certain beings that should have been in this list, also let me know. If you guys want me to talk about certain characters and get into more detail as to what they can do, I will also do that. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. And we're going to be going into a bunch of different animes, so it's going to be lit on this channel. But I'ma holla at y'all. Peace.